Hey folks, how you doing out there today? It's Remo back and we are out on the new Highway Haulin 2 map. We are going to be doing a quick little logging run here. Now what I've planned on doing with the logs with this first map, because there's going to be more involved when the second map gets made, but we are going to have two logging spots. One is going to be short logs, and the other one is going to be medium and long logs. The short log loading area is the one in the swamp. We're actually going to go through that one to get to the other one. And we're going to take one of the small little side trails up to the larger log loading area, which is going to have the long and medium logs. We're running up there with the Edison. I believe this is a 750 version, the slightly bigger one, I assume, from what I see. And we're using the GGMS logging pack trailers, and this is actually a low saddle trailer that carries two medium log loads. And I really like these trailers. I use them quite a bit in testing. It's nice to be able to carry two loads with a saddle trailer. They're just a little easier to manage than the dolly ones. And myself, I like the saddle trailers a little better. Love to know what you all think. The dolly trailers prove to be challenging. I like the ones that you can at least lock the front wheels so you can back them up. I just never figured out the method of backing up one of the rotating dolly trailers. You usually just jam it into something or winch your way around, right? So we are just kind of heading through this swamp road. I've tried to keep the mud on the side of being able to use vanilla trucks. There's quite a variance on vehicle abilities in the mud, we'll say, with mods and vanilla trucks, but I've definitely tried to make it so that you should be able to use vanilla trucks, although it's going to be challenging. But I also would add the caveat of off the trail. Typically, you can get into some really bad spots that'll probably eat mod trucks even as well. So there should be that kind of mixed challenge. It'll be a fun place to go mud bogging in. This is a big swamp all the way across this side of the map. Where we're taking it is these logs will be heading over to the lumber mill. This is going to be essentially one of the tasks. We're just kind of doing a test run with the truck and the trailer here. Nice to see season 11 come out. I hope everyone's enjoying it. I haven't played any of the DLCs. I just don't play much. Most of us modders, as I've said before, we don't spend a lot of time playing the game, but we utilize the new assets and features that come, and I have tried to catch a few videos on YouTube just to kind of see what it was all about. Definitely checked out all the new models that we got from the season to use in the editor, so there's a couple of things I'm definitely going to work into this map. Kind of at the stage where I'm starting to put finishing touches, all the little bushes and chairs and lights and all the little things around buildings that really make everything feel lived in. So I know there's nothing really moving, but those little things do definitely help, and I'll probably add in a few more of the animated fish in the water, and there's a few models of people. There's only I think two, but I try to use them in unique ways. The one is a hunter holding a gun, so I usually have to either hide his arm or put something in his hand that covers the gun. So yeah, we'll see. I'll try to work in a few those little tidbits to find around the map. I really still kind of writing out the tasks at this point. I think I've added 2 or 3 more and a couple more stages to a few of the builds that I was going to do, like the brewery. I've added a few more stages and builds to it, so a lot of this map's going to be focused on a few general areas, but you're going to go a lot of places to get the cargo, and I'm just trying to keep it open. It's going to change up a little bit. We're just right here just switching my terrain draw distance. It's a little choppy, and that's one thing that you don't really notice much, and definitely helps out, at least on PC. I doubt you can change any of that stuff on console. I don't know, but it's funny. I'm sure most of us can attest to the fact that this game will run not, your system won't run very hard. I got an i5 9400 and a 3060 and 16 gigs of RAM, and I'm usually around 50% usage, but it's always got a little bit of that chop and stuff. The one thing I've noticed that helps is turning your draw distance down, and shadows going down to high actually help quite a bit. You don't really notice much difference in game, so those are two things I run down a little bit lower. It's just what you got to do to get a clean experience, and I really don't notice much of a difference. Draw distance, you're not up at the top of hills looking very far, so really two things I think you can easily lose. Shadows are always a quick one. Usually going from the highest setting to like ultra to high doesn't make a whole lot of difference visually in a lot of games, and I know shadows are pretty taxing on game engines, so it's usually a pretty easy one to throw in there and get a little better performance. So back to what I was saying about is the tasks are going to change. Like the logging is going to be added to with the second map. I'm going to work sequoias in on the next map. As I've said, it's probably going to be a little more backcountry map and a little less highway once you get off the main highway. And I want to work a little bit more logging into that. So, like I said, I'll probably use the sequoias. Also, think I'm going to work in something with the drilling stuff to have a few more animated builds, and there's quite a bit of cargo you can deliver on something like that. So that's really my thought on map 2, which is going to go out the not hill side of this map. I do have to come up with a name for this, and I haven't really brainstormed too much, so that's something that I'm still looking for. If you saw in the background there, that's that really high bridge that's kind of an off-road trail. Like I said, there's going to be some antenna tasks that are up there. We're just coming up to the loading area here. So this one I just quickly programmed in so we could grab a few logs for the trip, and again, I'm kind of testing roads, making sure it's drivable. Would love to know what y'all think about the trail up here so far in terms of challenge. I might rut it out a little bit more, but again, I want to keep it like the near north is another map that you should be able to use vanilla trucks for a good chunk of it, if not all of it. And I'd like to keep this highway region in the same vein, basically, so that I know there's people that really enjoy the vanilla trucks. I do sometimes too, to be honest with you. And I want it to be able to do both. Now, there's trucks, mod trucks, as we've all seen before, that it doesn't matter what it is, it'll go through it like crazy. And you know what? Some people enjoy the experience, so have at it. It doesn't hurt anyone. But this one, I'm definitely going to focus on keeping it more on the realistic vanilla side of things. And there will be big challenges, but I think the harder driving is going to come with the next maps. This one has quite a bit of off-road, but most of it's relatively tame. It's going to be a lot of hauling, and there's going to be a bunch of scout tasks to do. Like I said, I'm probably up to, we're probably going to have about 35 tasks on this. I got to cut it at some point because I want to save some stuff for the region version, but it just kind of keeps snowballing and adding more stuff, and I know y'all won't mind. It just one of those things that I want to keep you running all over the map. Like I said in other videos, I'm pretty sure I'm going to have about 6 or 7 repeatable tasks for anyone that just wants to exist in the world a bit more. There's a lot of different roads, so you can take deliveries many different ways. We're going to go on this right-hand turn, and we're going to head back and take the highway across to the lumber mill. We could have turned left there and taken a pretty long off-road way. But again, I want to try this on the highway. We're actually going to go down through that big gully with the questionable climb on the hill, but we're going to do it the other way from what we've seen on video so far, and take the Edison for a drive on the road, do a little log hauling. That's going to be kind of the fun of this map, is the off-road, on-road stuff. I tried to do that with the first highway hauling, where it's some of the hauls are long enough on-road that you may want to have an off-road truck to bring them out, switch vehicles. Basically both have a low saddle so you can hook the highway truck on and drive it back with a highway vehicle. That's kind of my mindset when I'm building this stuff. So I'm pretty happy with that road so far. I'm probably going to put a little bit more small rock, branches, that kind of stuff on that road. Maybe a little more rutting, but it's more or less what I'm shooting for. I've run most of the paved roads, and I think they're for the most part pretty much done. I have a bit more signage to put out around. There's actually quite a few new signs with the new season, so I'll use some of those that are just parking signs and things like that that I'm going to work out. I'm putting a couple, there's going to be, I guess from what I had said before, the water tasks, is I'm thinking of, there's going to be a few pools around on the, around the map in different places that you're going to deliver water to. I know somebody suggested a while ago maybe trying to work in some of the fire stuff, and I believe it was suggested by the same person. I'm sorry, I can't remember who it was. I apologize. That maybe a building on fire or something. So I was thinking of maybe working that into the second map. This one, I don't know. Maybe. I mean, I didn't get nearly as much done as I had hoped this week, but just goes like that sometimes. I'm far enough along here. I'm still thinking, I'm hoping in 2 weeks. I know I said that a few days ago, but I'm hoping around 2 weeks from now to actually have this out and playable. I've got a few, like I said, I've got a few more of the tasks written out. I'm really starting to go through and pick each section of buildings and stuff and do the little fine tuning. I've got a few of the loading areas in. Gonna start putting zone areas which start and finish your tasks and all that stuff. But just keep myself really well laid out. I don't know if I'm going to, but I didn't on the first highway hauling. I may spend the time and try to localize this map just sheerly because I didn't do the first one, and I know it's a pretty popular map in terms of it kind of gives a player something that most of the other maps don't. And I know it's not for everyone, but I will build all the tasks in with the naming scheme you need to use to call the different languages, and that way when I can update it in the future without breaking it, I'm pretty sure. It's going to be one of those ones that on release it's not going to be localized, but I'm going to work towards it and try and get this one done. Just bear with me because I don't have a good program. I'm just using free stuff on the internet, and there's a couple that I found that will translate my one line to all the different languages I need. I have no idea, but I completely assume that it's not a very good translation, but I guess it's better than nothing. I've said in the past, it is a huge amount of work to localize a map, so respect to any of the modders, especially on the map side, that do localize maps, because you just don't. I've said it in other videos. The near north region, which was 3 maps and I think about 90 tasks, had 6,500 strings, which are lines of text that you have to copy and paste and add in. And one of the devs, I think it was Alizoro, made a program that helps you do this, that puts it into each, or you have a spot for each language and it makes up the string file. and it's really helpful, but it's still, you have to copy and paste each individual line at least 3 times. So it's just a killer amount of work. And I've said it before, I know the translations are poor, but I want to put this highway map out for everyone to play. You know, something that's I've been wondering is when this game is ending its support cycle, are there going to be console mod approvals? Like, are they going to actually pay people to still do that, or do we kind of hit the end of the line for that? Obviously, PC mods don't need to be approved, so they have nothing to do with the devs in that sense. But I just wonder how long they're going to support approving mods to bring them over to console. If there's going to be a point where we don't get anything else, this could be the last season. I'm not too sure. I imagine with Expeditions coming out, they're starting to look forward a bit, so who knows. But before it's all said and done, I'm going to localize. Like I said, I'm going to really work on localizing this map so a lot of people can play the highway region. I just hope it turns out as fun as the first one did. For most people, they seem to really enjoy the different pace, and once you pick up the skill of driving on pavement, it can be pretty fun. So it's just, you can't go too fast. Anyways, we are just pulling up to the lumber mill here, and this is an example of an area that's laid out, but there's no little stuff in it. There's no piles of logs at the lumber mill. There's nothing around that house. That is where I'm at right now, is finishing up. And I do have to add, I didn't mention it earlier, but the new dust physics driving on roads is pretty cool, and I think there's a few things like that I've seen. Anyways, thanks for watching. We'll talk to you all again real soon.